A very happy new year to you, and a very warm welcome to its first edition of The World from A to Z. We are your nonpartisan source for international news and events, and I'm Carl Azuz, thankful to be your host. Our first headline of 2026, the ousted president of Venezuela is being held at a jail in New York City following U.S. airstrikes on targets in his country and an operation to capture him and his wife early Saturday morning. Why? President Nicolás Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, have been charged with drug and weapons crimes dating back to 2020, and they'll be tried in American courts in the days ahead. What's the background? Maduro's capture follows decades of tensions between the U.S. and Venezuela, which began after Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez came to power in 1999. He increased government control over Venezuela during what he called 21st century socialism, and Chavez worked to limit U.S. influence there while forging closer ties with Cuba and Russia. President Maduro was Chavez's hand-picked successor, and Venezuela's relationship with the U.S. continued to worsen over the years that followed Maduro's election in 2013. He was accused of cheating to win multiple votes while his country's economy crumbled and shortages of basic goods became widespread. And American authorities say Maduro teamed up with gangs and drug traffickers to ship tons of cocaine into the U.S. What have reactions been like? Mixed. Maduro's supporters rallied in some parts of Venezuela, while its acting leader and former vice president called U.S. actions, quote, an atrocity that violates international law. President Delcy Rodriguez also accused the U.S. of trying to replace Venezuelan leadership while seeking the country's vast reserves of oil. But Maduro's opponents in Venezuela and abroad celebrated what they called the removal of a dictator, while leaders in Canada and the United Kingdom who opposed Maduro said they looked forward to seeing Venezuelans choose their own new president. American critics called the government's actions illegal and said the Trump administration should have gotten approval from Congress before moving to capture the Venezuelan former president. The U.S. government says because this wasn't an extended military operation, it didn't require congressional approval, and that trying to get that would have risked leaks that could have threatened the operation. What's next? President Donald Trump says the U.S. will govern Venezuela until it properly transitions to new leadership. Has something like this ever happened before? Maduro's capture came 36 years to the day after former Panamanian President Manuel Noriega surrendered following the U.S. invasion of Panama. He was convicted of numerous drug and corruption charges and served 17 years in U.S. prison.
Word of knowledge. Which of these Revolutionary War engagements was not a victory for American forces? Battles of Lexington and Concord, Siege of Yorktown, Battles of Saratoga, Battle of Bunker Hill. Though it was officially a British victory, the 1775 Battle of Bunker Hill showed that the colonists could effectively fight the British.
At the New York State Museum, a Revolutionary War-era boat is being painstakingly pieced back together, more than 2 centuries after it was buried beneath Manhattan's expanding shoreline. The vessel was discovered 15 years ago, 22 feet below street level, during construction for an underground parking garage.
A small ship that was found underneath the foundations for the World Trade Center in 2010 and 2011.
The recovered timbers were then shipped all the way to Texas A&M Center for Maritime Archaeology and Conservation, where each of the 600 pieces underwent a 3D scan and spent years in a preservation process. The boat then took another journey. After being wrapped in more than a mile of foam, its timbers were shipped to the New York State Museum.
Like anything from the past, we have pieces of information. We don't have the whole story. So it's that fascination with what happened between 1775 and 1790 when it became part of the landfill.
We're not totally in the dark about the boat, though. Pieces offer clues to the vessel's history. For example, an analysis of the timbers showed they came from trees cut down in the Philadelphia area in the early 1770s. That points to the ship being built in a yard near the city. And it's believed the vessel was constructed hastily. The wood is knotty, and timbers were fastened with iron spikes. This allowed for faster construction, but the metal corrodes over time in seawater.
We don't know its full career yet, but our hypothesis is that it was built as a small gunboat. There were 13 of them that were actually built in the summer of 1775 in order to protect the Delaware River, Delaware Bay, and ultimately Philadelphia from incursions by the British.
Preservation work has been done in an exhibition space, allowing visitors to watch as the weathered wooden skeleton slowly takes form.
On this date in world history. January 5th, 1709, a wave of frigid weather swept into Europe. It was later called the Great Frost or the Great Winter, and the event that lasted 3 months would be the region's coldest winter in hundreds of years. Lakes and rivers froze, scores of people lost their lives, animals died, crops failed, and because so much of Europe's economy was based on agriculture, the effects lingered across the continent long after the ice melted. On this date in 1925, an American woman named Nellie Tayloe Ross won a special election in Wyoming to fill the office of her late husband, William, who died during his term. The vote was historic because it made Nellie the first woman ever elected to state governor in the U.S. Ross served almost 2 years and was defeated in her bid for re-election, but she later became the first female director of the U.S. Mint. And this was the date in 1933 when construction started on the Golden Gate Bridge in California. The orange Art Deco engineering achievement was the longest and tallest suspension bridge on Earth when it opened to the public 4 years later.
Join EF on this unique trip where you'll enjoy personal travel and discover how educational tours can help you teach to the moment. Enter now to win one of 30 spots on this free trip to Portugal.
Time to highlight some of the schools watching. Most of these came from the Request a Shoutout link at worldatz.org. From Trinity, North Carolina, we welcome the Timberwolves of Uwharrie Ridge 612. Mr. McKinney's class is there. We've also got the Falcons with us from Fairfax, Virginia. That's where Mrs. Montgomery's class is online at Frost Middle School. Mrs. Stevens students at Northland Christian School are the Trailblazers. They're watching from Kansas City, Missouri. And the Lava Bears are the mascot of Bend Senior High School. Big hello to Mr. Brown's class in Bend, Oregon.
Take a look at the best of the best from a worldwide photography competition aimed at highlighting talented and artistic eyes with a knack for lush landscapes. These are some of the impressive finalist images from the 12th Annual International Landscape Photographer of the Year competition. This year's contest saw more than 3,600 submissions from photogs all around the world who labored to cast light on the breadth and beauty of some of the world's most stunning natural vistas. There are too many highlights to name, as all of the artists captured simply spectacular views of earth, sea, and sky. However, all three were collected in the same striking shot by an Austrian artist who took the overall winning prize for Best Photograph of the Year. And it was an American's beautiful, bountiful body of work that won overall for Best Landscape Photographer of the Year. More of the incredible winner and finalist submissions can be viewed in the online ebook at internationallandscapephotographer.com.
Why bother with hot pursuit and a high-speed chase when you can have something lukewarm and relatively slow? Here's what we mean. A crime suspect at a golf course near Atlanta, Georgia recently tried to make a getaway in a golf cart. My friends in Peachtree City are like, yeah, I've seen this before. Anyway, the pursuing police officer grabbed another cart and gave chase a few miles per hour at a time. Even sped up. It's not exactly heart or traffic stopping video, but the suspect did eventually surrender, and police decided to add a pursuit cart of their own to their fleet, saying crime has been warned of potential pit maneuvers at a blistering 12 miles per hour. Thankfully, that getaway vehicle was just putt-putting along about as fast as a round of golf. It's really a better driver for those on a crime-free path. And as long as you play the fairway, you don't go out of bounds, and you've got enough green, a golf cart can be a great way to haul woods through the woods while aiming for aces and avoiding the hazards that leave others in a rough spot. I'm Carl Azuz, taking a swing at puns on the world from A to Z. We've got the same tea time tomorrow, so please join us for another round then. You mean the world to me.